one of the main points that you raise in the book, which I think is so great. It's so great. I mean, I personally refer to this as my own Paul Newman theory of life, but you call it cosmic insignificance therapy. And I'll tell you, my Paul Newman theory of life is basically you can live your life perfectly, which I don't know. He seemed to. Like, what do I know? From the outside, he was gorgeous. He married for love to another Hollywood movie star. They had A-list careers. They got to choose whatever movie they wanted to be in. You know, that's what every actor dreams of. They won awards. They were beloved. They weren't really that controversial. They had a great family, children who loved them. They made so much money. They started a charity in which they donated hundreds of millions of dollars to charity. You know, and it goes on. You know, and died at an advanced age. All of it. I'm like, it's amazing. You know what happened to Paul Newman? He's still dead and buried in the ground. You can live the, quote, perfect life. It ends the same way for all of us. Putting all these chips into the bank does not extend life. It doesn't give you extra chips that the rest of us losers don't have. You know, it's going to end the same for everyone, whether you live it perfectly or not perfectly, or, you know, you're the most productive person, or you're the least. And that brings me calm. That brings me serenity when I think about my life. Like, I don't have to, I'm not living a perfect life. And even if I did, what would the reward be? Well, I don't know. Was he any happier with his Oscars than I am being with my kids? No. So it's like, what are you chasing, right? You figure out what makes you happy, you chase that, and then you don't chase perfection. You call it cosmic insignificance theory. And for the reason I just stated, this resonated with me. It's basically like, you don't really matter. I'll let you explain it.
Yeah, I know it doesn't sound like it's going to be therapeutic, does it, at the beginning? But I mean, there's a number of different reasons why I think it's really useful. But one of them is just like, I think that we stress ourselves out, a lot of us anyway, going through life with a real sense that like every decision we make matters as if the future of the universe hung on it. You know, people hold back from doing things because they're terribly worried they might make the wrong decision about what to do with their time on the planet. They set a definition of a meaningful life, that what would count as using their time well, that is so extraordinary and so based on so much fame or wealth or something else that the probabilities are just sort of against them meeting that. So you endlessly kind of stress yourself out and make it harder to live a meaningful life. If you stop and realize, by contrast, you know, that 100 years from now, almost none of the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis are going to matter at all, I think that is not a recipe for despair. I think that's a recipe for, you know, saying, okay, I might as well make bold decisions, might as well take some risks, might as well do the thing I've always been telling myself is what I want to do with my life, might as well see if that works out, because you get to like take away this crazy high stakes notion that basically the world's going to end if you get it wrong. No, the world is going to continue just fine, and long after you're gone. So I think that's one, we can talk about more, but I think that's one reason why it's just really useful to see. We all sort of bring a certain kind of grandiosity, I think, even those of us who are not kind of megalomaniacs, you know, who are very sort of shy and retiring. There's still a kind of self-centeredness about it that adds to the stress. You can sort of let go of that and say, it doesn't matter that much, and so why not do something like exciting or cool, or it's going to make a big difference.
Right. I love this. I go to Stanford Business School once a year, and I speak to the students there about reputation management. And these kids have spent, you know, an entire semester learning about this from, you know, corporate leaders and world leaders and how to manage reputation. And they're going to be tomorrow's world leaders. And I think the reason they want me to go there is because my message is, this is all bullshit. You've just wasted a semester of your lives. There's no such thing as reputation. It's a mirage. It's bullshit. It counts for nothing. It's this false creation, false idol, you know, false god that is totally and utterly meaningless. And even if you get the nicest things written in the New York Times about you when you die, what does it matter if you didn't do the things you wanted to do while you were here. Or as you said, take the risks you wanted to take, come what may, after taking them. Like, what does it matter if you led the perfect life, right, quote unquote, but didn't feel satisfied by it, or have tons of regrets and looking back at your choices, or weren't able to live in the moment and enjoy the hand opening and closing with the baby, as opposed to taking a selfie of it and then tweeting it out with a cute caption? What does it matter? It's all a mirage. Reputation is totally and utterly meaningless. What matters is your experiences.
Yeah, totally. And absolutely. And that really puts a point on it as well, that like you fall into this idea that you're working towards some moment of truth, right? That the reason to manage your reputation, to use this example, which I think is really like resonates, right? Why are you managing your reputation? It's got to be because you want to get to the end of this life having thought, okay, I kept my reputation intact, or it's because you're storing it all up for some moment when you're going to cash that reputation out into some huge accomplishment. And like these moments of truth, they basically never come, and if you're constantly living for them, you find you don't live. You're deferring the meaning of life off to the future, and then eventually it's off to a future where you're not even alive anymore. The future's there, but you're not. So I just think it's so relaxing to just think, okay, I don't need to take myself as seriously as I tend to take myself, and that basically it doesn't matter what I do with my life, and that is therefore a reason to do something exciting, interesting, risky.
Swing for the fences, or just whatever gravitational pull there is in your life of the thing that you really want to try but you don't want to, or the thing you really want to say but you don't dare. It's so gratifying to be on the side of, risk-taking and just living a big, bold life for whatever that means to you. It could be totally different things.
Well, I think that's another point worth making, right? In a culture that is as dedicated to sort of fame and headline-grabbing achievements and wealth as ours is, maybe the bold thing to do is to be willing to live a life below the radar. Maybe it's to be focused on making your neighborhood incredibly beautiful, or the community you live in incredibly vibrant. It could be very mundane things, and that could actually be the bold choice, given that we live in this culture that's so dedicated to, grand gestures and celebrity.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.